The legendary godfather of heavy metal, Ozzy Osbourne, has passed away at 76. Few names in rock history carry the same weight as Ozzy's. He wasn't just a music legend, he was a global icon, loved and respected by fans all over the world. In his later years, though, the Prince of Darkness quietly stepped away from the spotlight and the fame that once surrounded him. By that time, Ozzy's focus had shifted, moving beyond the stage lights and the worldwide attention that used to define his life. Instead, Ozzy's mind was focused on one deeply personal thing, a final wish that only his wife, Sharon, could help him fulfill. It wasn't just an ordinary wish, it was something truly special and meaningful, shaping his final days and bringing him a deep sense of peace. If Ozzy Osbourne's legacy has ever touched you, made you laugh, reflect, or feel inspired, show your appreciation by hitting like and subscribing so you won't miss more powerful stories ahead. Drop a 1 in the comments if you feel connected to Ozzy's journey, or a 0 if you see it differently. Now, without keeping you waiting any longer, let's uncover the touching story of what brought Ozzy Osbourne peace in the final moments of his life. Though Sharon never revealed the details of Ozzy's final wish, one thing was clear: she was determined to see it through, no matter what. Her promise was unwavering. Ozzy would leave this world with the dignity he deserved, remembered not for his illness, but as the legend who stood tall, fierce, and unbroken until the very end. Her commitment spoke volumes, reflecting not just the depth of her love, but the profound respect she held for the life he lived and the legacy he built. In the end, true devotion meant more than care. It meant honoring and protecting the spirit of the man she loved, preserving the myth, the music, and the soul of the Prince of Darkness. Black Sabbath's setlist that night drew from the very heart of their legacy, iconic anthems like War Pigs, Iron Man, and Paranoid. These weren't just songs, they were milestones in rock history, the thunderous echoes of a movement that forever changed music. Though the performance was relatively brief, every riff and every lyric carried the weight of decades, a powerful reminder of the journey they had shared. As the final chords faded into the night, fireworks lit up the sky above Villa Park, casting a magical, almost sacred glow over the crowd. Under that sky, the band took their final bow not just from the stage, but from an era. It wasn't simply a concert, it was a tribute to memory, legacy, and the undying passion for music that had brought them together one last time. In a deeply moving revelation, Ozzy Osbourne's final wish wasn't to quietly fade from the spotlight, but to return to where it all began, Birmingham, for one last performance. It was a heartfelt desire, rooted not only in his lifelong love of music, but in his need to reconnect with the city that had shaped him. Sharon, who had stood by his side through every rise and fall, shared that Ozzy's greatest hope in those final weeks was to take the stage one more time in his hometown. This wish wasn't just about celebrating a legendary career, it was about saying a personal goodbye, face to face, with the fans, friends, and supporters who had stood by him for a lifetime. Surrounded by his bandmates and the fans who had shared every step of his journey, Ozzy longed to feel their energy and love one final time. This wasn't just a concert, it was a farewell spoken in the language he knew best: music. A tribute not only to his legendary career, but to the passion and soul he had poured into every note. Sharon understood how challenging it would be to make that moment happen, yet she also knew it was the only goodbye Ozzy truly wanted. This was the ending he had envisioned, one filled with purpose, raw emotion, and a profound truth to the man he had always been. When Ozzy appeared, seated on a black throne at the center of the stage, the stadium erupted in a deafening roar. That image, striking, raw, and unforgettable, captured everything he was. Though his body bore the weight of illness, his presence was immense, undiminished. He looked every bit the king of rock, a living legend whose spirit could never be broken. That night, Ozzy wasn't just performing, he was embodying a myth, brought to life one final time. And when he opened the show with the trembling words, "Mum, I'm home," the emotion in his voice swept through the crowd like a wave. No one knew it then, but that would be the last time Ozzy truly came home, a full circle farewell, closing his story in the very place where it all began. In Ozzy's final days, the Osbourne family gathered close to be by his side. His children, Kelly, Jack, Amy, and his eldest, Jessica and Louis, visited often, fully aware of how precious these last moments were. It was an intimate, sacred time, filled with quiet reflection, shared memories, and deep love. The man who once opened his home to the world through the Osbournes was now surrounded by the people who knew him best, not as a rock icon, but as a father, a partner, and the heart of their family. These final days weren't defined by the spotlight, but by connection, gratitude, and the unconditional love of a family holding close the man who meant everything to them. The July 5th event at Villa Park, now remembered as Ozzy's final performance, sparked a wave of admiration across the global music community. With 40,000 fans packed into the stadium and millions more watching via live stream, the concert became a worldwide moment of unity, reverence, and celebration. This was more than a show, it was history in motion. Every chord, every lyric carried the weight of a legendary career, as Ozzy and his bandmates brought their shared legacy to life one last time. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, a defining moment in rock history that left an indelible mark on everyone lucky enough to witness it. Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Slayer, and Anthrax all took the stage as supporting acts, delivering powerful tributes to Ozzy Osbourne, the man who helped shape and define the very essence of heavy metal. These weren't just fellow musicians, they were artists whose own journeys had been deeply influenced by Ozzy's groundbreaking legacy. Their performances electrified the night, with every riff and lyric echoing the respect they held for the legend who paved the way. "The only place we could do this is Aston, because that's where Ozzy was born and raised," Sharon said. Her words spoke not just of geography, but of Ozzy's lasting connection to his roots, a hometown bond that never faded, even as his influence spread across the world. On July 5th, 2025, Ozzy Osbourne's final wish came true. Sharon brought it to life with a monumental tribute concert titled "Back to the Beginning," transforming Villa Park, home of Aston Villa Football Club, into sacred ground for heavy metal. This was more than a celebration of Ozzy's legendary career. It was a once-in-a-lifetime reunion, bringing him back on stage with his Black Sabbath bandmates Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward for the first time in over 20 years. It wasn't just a performance, it was a profoundly emotional farewell. A final, unforgettable moment shared by the icons who reshaped rock music forever. A goodbye truly worthy of the Prince of Darkness himself. Sharon revealed that from the very start of planning the concert, her vision was to bring together every band Ozzy had ever worked with, inviting them to perform his most iconic songs, from Black Sabbath anthems to solo career-defining hits. It became a music festival, she explained, capturing the scale and emotional weight of the event. This wasn't just a concert, it was a celebration of music history itself. Artists came together on one stage not only to perform, but to honor the life, spirit, and enduring legacy of a legend who helped define the sound of generations. After that emotional opening, Ozzy summoned the strength that had carried him through a lifetime on stage and launched into the thunderous opening of Crazy Train. In that moment, music wasn't just his passion, it was his lifeblood. "You have no idea how I feel. Thank you from the bottom of my heart," he told the crowd, his voice thick with emotion and overflowing gratitude. The response was instantaneous, 40,000 fans rising as one in a wave of applause, a chorus of love and admiration that filled the night air. This wasn't just a concert, it was a celebration of a legacy. Ozzy proved to the world that while his body may have grown frail, his spirit, his voice, and his impact would never fade. Although the concert raised an astonishing $189 million for charity, its true meaning went far beyond the numbers. For Ozzy, this wasn't about headlines or accolades, it was deeply personal. This final show was his way of giving back. A thank you to the fans, friends, and fellow artists who had stood by him through decades of music, chaos, and unforgettable milestones. Beneath the thunderous applause and glowing tributes, something quieter was unfolding, a powerful, heartfelt goodbye. A man closing the final chapter of a legendary life on his own terms. It wasn't just a performance. It was a moment of profound connection, gratitude, and farewell. A final salute from the Prince of Darkness to the world he helped shape. This was Ozzy's farewell, the final, burning wish he had carried quietly in his heart through his last years. He had long known that time was slipping away, but instead of retreating into fear or sorrow, he held fast to a single dream with unshakable resolve: to leave this world not in silence, but in song. Ozzy didn't want to vanish as a man defined by illness. He wanted to go out the only way he truly knew, on stage, under the lights, surrounded by music, and the fans who had stood by him from the very beginning. It was a wish he entrusted to Sharon, the woman who had weathered every storm with him. His final request wasn't about legacy or spectacle, it was about truth. One last show, one final bow, in the city where it all began, on the stage that gave him life. Sharon brought Ozzy back home, back to the people, the memories, and the music that had given his life meaning. In that deeply emotional moment, she tearfully shared, "He wanted me to remind him of his true self." Those words carried the weight of a lifetime shared and a sacred promise kept. With unwavering devotion, Sharon helped Ozzy say goodbye, not as a fading legend, but as the man he had always been: bold, unfiltered, and profoundly human. Ozzy, who had spent decades pouring his soul into the world through music, returned to the place where it all began. It was more than a farewell, it was a full-circle journey, a final chapter written in love, loyalty, and legacy. In every beat, every note, and every goodbye, the spirit of rock was honored. And with that, the final curtain fell on one of the most extraordinary lives music has ever known. On the 22nd of July 2025, just 17 days after his unforgettable final performance, Ozzy Osbourne passed away at the age of 76. His family shared the news in a deeply heartfelt statement, marking the end of an era. It was a moment of profound loss, not just for those who knew and loved him personally, but for the entire world of music. A true legend had left us, taking with him a piece of rock history. But Ozzy's spirit will never fade. He lives on in every thunderous guitar riff, every haunting lyric, and in the heart of every fan who ever raised their voice to scream his name. Through the timeless music he gave to the world, Ozzy Osbourne's legacy remains immortal, forever etched into the soul of rock and roll. With immeasurable sadness, our family shares that our beloved Ozzy Osbourne passed away peacefully this morning, surrounded by the people who loved him most. He has returned to the embrace of his family in spirit, wrapped in boundless love. Ozzy's passing leaves a void that words simply cannot capture. Yet even in our grief, we are deeply moved by the outpouring of love and tributes from around the world. From lifelong fans to fellow musicians, the messages of respect, admiration, and heartfelt affection remind us of the incredible impact he had, not just as a rock icon, but as a man whose music and spirit touched millions of lives. My dear friend Ozzy passed away just weeks after our show at Villa Park, Tony Iommi shared. This is heartbreaking, and words can't capture it. No one will ever be like him. Geezer, Bill, and I have lost our brother. Ozzy's passing cast a new light on that historic night. What had once been a monumental celebration of rock legends became something far more profound, a final, heartfelt farewell. The Villa Park concert now stands as a timeless tribute, not only to Ozzy's unmatched legacy, but also to the unbreakable bond between four lifelong friends who helped shape the very soul of rock music. It was more than a fundraising concert or a long-awaited reunion. It was the final chapter of an extraordinary life. That night at Villa Park became a legendary moment, where Ozzy Osbourne said goodbye not only to his fans, but also to the city that raised him and the legacy he spent over half a century building. His final wish had been fulfilled. A farewell on his own terms, raw, powerful, and deeply personal. And it was Sharon, his unwavering partner through every triumph and trial, who made that possible with steadfast love and devotion. In the end, Ozzy left this world as he had lived in it, with courage, fire, and the enduring respect of millions whose lives he had touched. Ozzy Osbourne leaves behind his beloved wife Sharon, their children Kelly, Jack, and Amy, as well as Jessica and Louis from his first marriage. He is also survived by several grandchildren who will carry forward the legacy of a man who helped define an entire genre. Though Ozzy has departed this world, his spirit lives on in the family who cherished him, in the generations of artists and fans he inspired, and in the music that changed the landscape of rock forever. He devoted his life to his art, and he will be remembered not only as a pioneer of rock and heavy metal, but as an irreplaceable legend whose influence will echo through time. Ozzy's music, his influence, and his unforgettable farewell performance in Birmingham will forever be etched in the history of rock. This wasn't just a concert, it was a final, heartfelt goodbye, where Ozzy left the world exactly the way only he could. Do you think this was the perfect way for a legend to close the final chapter of his life? If Ozzy Osbourne's story inspired or touched you, leave a comment with a 1 or 0 if you feel differently. Share your thoughts with us. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss more powerful stories like this one. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.